Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney Bundles, and today's video is going to be a story time of my birthing story, birthing journey, what happened step by step when I went in for my scheduled C-section. So if you are interested in this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed, and let's get right into the video. So I had my C-section scheduled for 37 weeks, and I was told the night prior, the night prior to my C-section, don't eat or drink anything. So I didn't. Don't eat and drink anything past midnight. So I didn't. I went to sleep around maybe 11:30 because I was so anxious. I couldn't sleep. I woke up around 4. We were supposed to be at the hospital by 5:30, and then we're going to get started with the C-section at 7:30. We did arrive late. We got there like 30 minutes late. So I was kind of nervous. I'm like, are they going to reschedule the C-section? Am I going to have to wait even longer? But they didn't. What ended up happening was I was given to another doctor to perform my C-section because my doctor had other appointments to tend to, which I completely understood. I mean, it was my fault that I was late anyway. So, well, I say it's my fault, but I'm really thinking it was my husband's fault that I was late because he moves slower than me. He does have more to carry too. He had to carry the car seat, the bags, and whatever. But I don't know. I'll just say it was our fault we were late. So anyways, I get there and they put me to a side of the building or a side of the hospital after I checked in that is called labor and delivery. And the room was really nice. It was big, updated, really pretty room. And I sat there until they got my IV started. They also took blood samples because I may have needed a blood transfusion. And they said that they always get blood samples when they admit new patients just to make sure that the blood type that they have in the system is actually the blood type that you need, because if not, it could be a life-threatening situation. So they got the blood. It didn't take too many pokes like before. My bruises from being poked up are kind of fading away, but they are still there. I don't know if you can see all of my bruises, but they're still there, but they're fading away, thank God. Once I got the IV started, I sat in the room probably for like 3 hours. It wasn't supposed to be 3 hours, but because they were waiting on a specific type of blood, because of my low iron, I had to wait until the blood got delivered from the blood, I believe it was like the blood connection, or blood bank. I forgot the right terminology. I think it's blood connection, but I waited about 3 hours. And, the iron in my blood, or the hemoglobin, I'm trying to get the terminology right. It just doesn't absorb iron. Like, my blood doesn't absorb iron how everyone else's blood does. So they waited until the blood got there. They said that they don't know if they'll have to use it, but they want it on hand just in case. My husband got his blue scrubs to put on, and I changed into my gown. And like I said, I just kind of waited there. During the time I was waiting, I prayed. I was really nervous, even though I do have different ways to cope with being nervous and just afraid. Sometimes I still do get nervous and afraid, even with those coping mechanisms that I have, because, I'm human. And like I said, I'm human. I'm not perfect. So I was just, praying. I was on the phone with my mom for a little bit. But really, I just kind of took the time to just rest and meditate. And I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that this is really about to happen. Like, I've been waiting so long, and in less than a few hours, I'm about to meet my baby. So the nurses came, they rolled in a wheelchair, and they said, okay, we're ready. And when they said that, I just got super nervous. So they put me in a wheelchair, wheeled me out the room. My husband was walking, he was like walking by the wheelchair until we got to the point where we were almost out of the room, and they said, hey, you're gonna have to go into another room while we get her prepared for surgery. that freaked me out because I'm like, what do you mean? I want him with me every step of the way. So he sat in a room close to the operating room. When I wheeled into the operating room, it looked just like an operating room. It wasn't a cozy feeling. It wasn't like just, I don't know, it just was like a cold operating room. It had a flat table, bright lights, computers, instruments. It just looked scary. It really did. I was like, wow, this scenery is not helping me cope with this at all. Mind you, I've had 2 other C-sections in the past, but they were emergency C-sections. Emergency C-sections are completely different than scheduled C-sections. I'm a witness, or I may just be the only person that feels that way, but I don't think I am. With emergency C-sections, you don't really have, like, I didn't have the time to prepare myself to get scared like that, because I was already in a position where it's like, I just didn't know what was happening, and it had happened so fast, like I was rushed. And because I had one of my babies during the emergency C-section were born really, really early at 27 weeks, they had to do a classical C-section. I believe that's the terminology. So my uterus has been cut multiple ways, like this direction, and also, what do they say, like the lower, I don't know, but it's been cut multiple ways to the point that I can't have a vaginal delivery anymore. Like, I have to have C-sections with each pregnancy going forward. And I already knew that. But like I said, I didn't have the time to like mentally prepare for a C-section. It just kind of like rushed and happened. And I really didn't even have the time to look around the room. And it was just like, it was so quick and so fast. So I was expecting that this was gonna be quick and fast too. I rolled into the room. Again, I'm by myself, just with the nurses. My husband's in another room. They get started with the epidural. I hate the epidural when it's getting administered. I just do. It does not feel good, and I get so nervous because I don't want to move. I was told I think it was like with my first child, don't move or you could become paralyzed. That is so scary to me. And it's because it's like, you don't want to move, but you don't know. Like, for me, I didn't know how it was going to feel exactly. I forgot. Like I said in some other videos, it's been 8 years since I had a baby. So I'm just like sitting there praying that I stay still. It's painful. You can feel the medicine going into your back. That's so uncomfortable. I started feeling my legs get numb. And I was like, okay, this should be fine. You know, I got done with the epidural, ready to rock and roll. So I laid on the bed, or on the operating table, and I felt like I could still feel some stuff. Like, I felt like I could still feel them touching me. So the doctor, I was told he pinched me really, really hard. I felt like he scraped me with something. And now that I'm looking at my stomach, I have like a scrape mark on the side of it. So I think he did scrape me. The nurse said he pinched me really hard. Either way, scrape or pinch, I felt something. And so they waited a little bit longer for the medicine to kick in. They gave me a little bit more something, and then they got started. Now, this was the longest C-section that I have ever had. It lasted, I don't know exactly how long it lasted, but it felt like it was going on for like a half an hour or an hour. It was, maybe not an hour, half an hour, 45 minutes. It was just really long. And the doctor was asking me, how much did they say the baby weighed? And I'm like, I don't want to talk right now. Like, I'm literally I'm feeling my insides being yanked and pulled. Like, I'm like, I don't remember. I think like around 6 pounds, 7 pounds. And the doctor explained to me later that the baby was a lot smaller than he anticipated. And I had a lot of scar tissue, so it took a lot of time to deliver my baby. So after that, after like the tugging and things like that, I felt so helpless. I just wanted it to be over. I just knew I was going to be sore, how much they were tugging, pulling, how long it lasted. I was just like, geez, like, oh, I just felt so helpless. My husband came into the room after like they got started, I feel like, with the C-section, and probably because they didn't want him just there the whole time. They were like prepping and starting the surgery, I guess. But he did come in and he sat by me, he recorded, and after a little bit, I heard my baby cry, and I was just so relieved, like, she's here. And I couldn't really see her. They didn't bring her over to me like my other pregnancies or my other C-sections. They didn't bring her over to me immediately. They gave her to my husband, weighed her, everything like that. He took a picture with her, multiple pictures, and they cleaned out her insides, like her throat, because I was told when you have a vaginal birth, a lot of the gunk that's like in baby's chest, it kind of gets squeezed out through the birth canal. When you have a C-section, that part skipped. So sometimes C-section babies have a lot more like fluid in their body, and I could hear the fluid when she was crying. So they sucked that out, and then I remember getting rolled. Like I got picked up, put on another table or another bed, and then I got rolled into the other side of the hospital, which was, I think it's like, what do they call it? I don't know if they call it mommy and baby or mother and infant unit. I don't know. But it's the postpartum. It's the side where moms and babies are after you give birth. So I went there, and I just remember a nurse coming in. She started pushing on my stomach so hard, and she said she had to do that every 30 minutes to make sure that I didn't get any blood clots. Oh my goodness, that hurt super, super bad. Imagine already going through surgery, already getting tugged on, already going through what you think is the worst part, and now literally like minutes after it, you're getting pushed, like your uterus, right when you have surgery, it's getting pushed on. I'm like, I don't remember this happening. Like, I don't, if it did happen, I don't remember this part. Like this is a little too much. She did it for 2 hours after surgery, every 30 minutes. Whew, I don't even want to think about it. That is some pain that I can't even, like, I cannot describe how painful it was. Excuse me, I don't even have the words for it. Like, I literally don't, and I'm not even being dramatic. I just don't have the words for it. It was super, I can't even like compare it to anything. It was super painful. So after that portion, after that part, I just remember another nurse coming in. I was so thankful that another nurse was coming in, because I'm like, yes, like, hopefully she's a lot softer. And she was. She still checked my uterus, but not like how the first nurse did at all. They weighed my baby. It's okay. They weighed my baby while we were in the room. They pricked her foot, her heel, to get her blood pressure. She didn't have a bath immediately. I remember having to ask a lot of times, can she get washed up? Because she had a lot of stuff still stuck in her hair, and I'm like, I just want her to feel clean. I just want her to, you know, not have all that stuff in her hair. So the next day they ended up giving her a bath. I got up like a few hours after surgery. Not a few hours, was it a few hours? No, I think they let me lay there the first day. And then the second day I got up, and they took the catheter out, and I had to use the bathroom on my own. I had to start walking around on my own. I can say the second day was worse than the first. They say it's normal for it to happen like that, I guess because some of the medicine wears off. I was expecting also my feet swelling to go down like immediately after I gave birth. They didn't. They still haven't gone down. And I did some research. It says like it could take 2 weeks for your swelling to go down in your feet, but they're still pretty swollen. So the second day, that's when I got up, used the restroom. I did not have to do a bowel movement before I left. I just had to urinate, and I really wasn't bleeding that much like I remember with my other C-sections. So that's a good thing. The next day, I also got up, and I kind of like made myself walk more because I just wanted to be healed and get out of the hospital. So I started walking around with the baby down the hallway. I walked by myself. I walked with my nurse. Kept walking around my room. Hurt a lot, but I started feeling like a difference in how I felt after I was walking. They let me go home the next day. I believe I was only there for like the day that I gave birth, and then 2 days after surgery. So I think it was like 3 days, 2 or 3 days. I'm trying to think if I'm missing like anything else. I don't want to go over every single like little detail. I'm just trying to give like the gist of it. Yeah, besides staying on top of my medication and just checking on me and my baby to make sure we're okay. They did do the hearing test in the hospital. That was about it. I was told to follow up with her pediatrician 2 days after I got out, which I did. She's already gone to her first newborn appointment. So that's pretty much how the run lasted in the hospital. The first night, my husband stayed the night with me, and he pretty much did everything with the baby because I couldn't really get up. Okay, baby. I could call my nurse, but he was right there, so he did a lot of things hands-on by himself. And second day, he was there all day, except when he had to go to work. He goes to work at night. Well, at least he did for that night. And I was there with the nurse. My mom also came to help out while he was at work. And then the third day, I believe that's when we went home. We didn't stay the night. We were just there during the day. So yeah, I mean, that was my experience. Was it worth it? Yes. I love my baby. I love all of my children. I would literally give anything for them, go through any pain for them. But is it something that I'm thinking like I'm going to want to do again? No, not at this time, not at all. My advice, if I could give advice to anyone that is planning on doing a C-section, is rest. Get your rest. Even if you're not tired, your body's gonna need it. Once you have your C-section, move. Even if you are in excruciating pain, move, because it's gonna hurt even worse laying there when gas starts to form, just when you have to use the restroom, as far as even urinate. If you wait too long, it could build up in your kidneys, which will cause more pain. If you're bleeding a lot, let your doctor know. If you need help with something, ask for it. Don't overdo it. I'm someone that I like to do a lot of things on my own, so it's hard for me to say, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? In some aspect, I've gotten a lot better. But don't be like that. Don't be, stubborn. Ask for help. If it's something you can't do with your baby and your baby needs it, ask for help. There were times that I couldn't get up when my baby was crying and even pick her up out of the bassinet because I was in so much pain. So if my husband wasn't there, I did use the nurse light. So those are just some tips that I have. I plan on coming to you all with more videos. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.